So in this part of the question, we are looking at the idea when we are presented with a lot of options, well, how many number of outcomes, how many number of combination can we have? So this is about Eva, and she is swimming, and those are the points along which one she can swim. So here we are told that point A is the starting point and is the closest to the shore, and it's the end point. So it doesn't matter how she swims, she will start at A and she will end up at A. So if I wants to see how many routes she could swim starting at A by swimming to each of the 5 markers once and only once and finishing at A. So if we are a little bit confused about description because like we are not sure what do they actually mean, so here they are giving us example to understand what they actually mean. So for example, how does she swim? So she starts at A, then she go to what? E. Then from E she goes to C, then she goes to F, then she goes to D, then she goes to B, and then she's back at A. So that's what they mean, that to each point once, starting with A and ending with A. So they are saying, give another example of such route that she could swim. And now here we could have so many different options that she could go. So let's say she go to C. And like I'm saying, you don't have to do it that way. Each one of you can do it in a different way. Then let's say she goes to F. Then let's say she goes to D. Then to B. Then to E, and then the last one, she will end up with A. Yeah? So for example, like that. So a different option than what we had above. And like I'm saying, loads of you can have different options. So therefore, they are saying, okay, so now that you are getting what that means, so work out how many such routes are possible. So we are saying, okay, doing the first part, from A to C, how many options does she have? So when she's starting here at A, so how many options does she have? She has 5, isn't it? Because there is 5 different points. So she picked a point. So now next part of her swim. So at the next stage, how many options has she left? Well, there was 5. She picked one. So now she left with 4. And then another one. How many option does she have? So we picked 2 points. Now we are left with how many? 3 to choose from. And you're guessing right. And 2 and 1. That's how we do this calculation. So basically, that number of outcomes, depending the scenario, is always the same. We multiply number of options available at that point by number of options, by number of options, depending that's how we will keep on multiplying that. And we put that in the calculator and we get that that's 120. Now, in the next example, we have that on a particular day, if I want to start at A, the same point, because the closest to the shore, swim to 2 markers other than A and return to A. For example, and again, they are giving us example. So from A, she picked E, and then from E, she picked B, and then back to A. So therefore, how many routes are here possible? So again, when she's at A and she's swimming, she's choosing a point to swim, how many options does she have? 5, isn't it, to choose from? And therefore multiply. And then from that point, again, when she's picking a point, how many options does she have? She has 4 left. Now, we are not considering the next level. Why? Because it always end with A, with the starting point. So it's only 5 multiplied by 4, which is 20. So again, number of options multiplied by number of options. And that idea of number of outcomes comes very often, is presented to us very often, just in a different scenarios. It could be we are giving numbers, let's say from 1 to, 9, and somebody creating a code, and we have to find how many possible options we're going to have with the code. Or we are giving a word like, rainbow, And they are saying, well, how many combination of letters we can have different words. So that's what I'm saying, different scenarios, but the idea the same. When we are looking at number of combinations, number of options, number of outcomes, it will be number of options multiplied by number of options.